We'll just give everything a chance to kick in, and then we'll start off. Can you let me know, Andrew, when it's up on YouTube and stuff? There we go. Is it on now, is it? Okay, lovely. Looks good. Super. Okay, so, welcome back everybody to another Technoclub, and welcome to the first one that we're going to be doing on Minecraft. So, we're going to be using Minecraft, as you say in the chat, over the last couple of days. Andrew and I have been planning out using Minecraft education for the next few weeks. So essentially, just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea as to what we're going to be doing with the coding club now over the next couple of weeks. So the idea is that we're going to be running the coding club now up until the end of July. So we're going to be doing Minecraft sessions now up until and including the 29th of July. And then what we're going to do then is from the 3rd of August, Technocamps are actually going to be running a series of summer school sessions. So pretty much every day for 3 weeks in August, delivery officers from across Wales are going to be doing different sessions. So as a result, what we're going to be doing is sort of encouraging you, I guess, to participate in some of those. I'm just seeing Jack, you say my mic is bad. Yeah, I'm sorry about the mic. I was going to just bring up, actually, my mic quality might not be the best today, because I'm using the pair of headphones which doesn't have the best mic on it. So I'm hoping that over the next couple of weeks I should be able to get sort of like a better one. So you should be able to hear me a bit better hopefully next week or the week after. So sorry if I'm a little bit echoey or something over this stream. Hopefully things will be a bit better next week. Hang on, I'll see if I can make it a bit less loud. Is that any better, or is it still a little bit deafening? Okay, that's fine. Okay, yeah. Sorry about the mic this week. Last week, over the last few weeks, I've been using the mic on my Mac, so it's been a bit, so it's been a lot better. But this week, because I'm streaming from my PC, I'm going to be using, because I'm streaming from my PC, it's a little bit, it's going to be a little bit echoey. Yeah, my Mac on my mic. So, like I said, what's going to be happening is Technocamps are going to be doing these summer school sessions from August 3rd. So there won't be any coding clubs for 3 weeks in August because we're going to be doing these sort of sessions. So at the end of August will be when they sort of carry on. But that's going to be the plan for the next few weeks. So with regards to what we're going to be doing now, so like I said, we're going to be using Minecraft Education, and what we're going to be using is something called the Code Builder. So I'm not sure if some of you have been using or have used the Code Builder in the past, but the idea is that we can incorporate different parts of coding into different bits of programming into Minecraft. So I know that some of you might have already used it before, so it might not necessarily be a new concept, But what we're going to be doing is essentially just a series of like different activities which cover a lot of the main, different sort of parts of programming that you're going to be using sort of as you sort of build on your programming knowledge. So essentially we're going to be doing that over the next few weeks. Now, what we're going to be doing today is pretty much a bit of an introduction. I know, like I said, a lot of you have already used Minecraft education stuff in the past, so not all of this will be new to you, but regardless, what we're going to do is we're going to just cover a few sort of new bits and pieces, and just to kind of introduce everybody who, especially those who haven't used Minecraft before, into using it. So we're going to just set up a new world, and we're essentially going to go through a lot of the basics, and then we're going to start by the end of the stream, hopefully using some of the code builder, just so that we can all start to kind of get used to the idea of how it works and things like that. So just to make sure before we officially start, has everybody got access? Has everybody managed to access Minecraft Education okay? Is everybody on the same screen that you can see on my screen now? Just put a thumbs up or let me know in the chat just so that I know that we're all in the same place. So it is, we'll be streaming live, should be up on YouTube at the moment. Yeah, I can put it through Discord. Hang on a sec. There you go. Okay, super. There we are. Okay, so it looks like everybody is all logged in and everybody is ready to go. So, like I said, what we're going to do to begin with today is we're just going to create just a really sort of flat world, just so that we can kind of mess about and do different things in it. One thing that I will just bear in mind, there are a few things that I'd like you to all make sure that you have turned on. So I'll go through those settings with you now. So if we all go to play, and then we'll create a new world, and then you can, as I'm sure all of you have come across this before, so we'll call out, I'm just going to call my world, there you go, Technocamps World 1. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set the game mode to creative. I'm going to keep the difficulty set to peaceful. I'm going to leave the permission level as member, because we're not going to be sharing worlds in this session. So you can leave your permission level set to member. The world type that I'm going to set is just going to be flat, just so that we've got a completely kind of blank space. But it isn't sort of entirely, if you wanted to go with infinite, or however it works for you, go for it. It's I'm just going to set mine to flat for the purposes of my demonstration. I'd like you to all enable show coordinates and make sure that your code builder is set to being on as well as activate cheats. So we've got show coordinates set to on, activate cheats set to on, and code builder set to on. Those are the only settings that I would like you to have switched on. If there are one or two things that you like having on personally and would prefer to have switched on, that's absolutely fine. As long as you've got on show coordinates, activate cheat, and code builder, that's absolutely fine. And then once you've done that, just let me know and hit play so that we can all load up the worlds that we've just created. Does anybody have any questions about that so far? Is everybody happy? If there's anything that anybody wants to ask, just let me know in the chat on the voice channel, and I'll make the changes. Like I said, I know some of you might have settings that you would prefer to have set up, and that's fine. If some of you would rather have certain settings in place, then that's absolutely fine. You can have always stay on, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, whatever works for you, Tis, that's absolutely fine. Like I said, there are some things that I know some people prefer, so if you'd like to have different things switched on, that's absolutely fine. Like I said, I know a lot of you will have come across, have obviously been using Minecraft before. Some of you are really, I can imagine, very experienced with it now and have maybe used it in school and things. So I've only just started using Minecraft myself. I hadn't actually used Minecraft before until the last sort of couple of weeks. We started having like training courses and things on it. So we thought it would be a really fun idea to kind of start incorporating it into the coding club. So, like, I know a lot of you will have already come across it before, but I think what I'd like to do, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page, is just cover the basics, how to move around, look at the inventory, how the hotbar works, and different things like that, just so that I know that everybody's in the same place and that we're all kind of up to speed with how everything works. So, moving around on in Minecraft, it's quite straightforward, as we know. We just use the WASD keys to move forward, left and right and backwards. And then of course you can change the direction that you're facing in using the mouse, so you can point the direction in which you'd like to face using the mouse, so that you can change sort of where you're going. As you know, the Spacebar is used to jump up and down, and in Education Edition, of course, you can double tap the Spacebar to fly around, so that you can move across worlds a little bit faster. You can then use Shift to move down, hold Spacebar to move up, and then if you want to come out from flying, you can just double tap Spacebar and then you land back on the ground again. So that is the sort of basic control movements. So you've got WASD to move around in different directions, use the mouse to point in the direction that you would like to face, you use the Spacebar to jump, double tap the Spacebar to fly around, double tap it again to land back down, and then Shift you can use to fly down while as you're flying, and you can also use it to crouch as well. Okay, so that's fine. So there's also, of course, the left and right mouse clickers, and what do they do? So the left mouse clicker is similar to, so a left mouse click, similar to like an action, so like, I guess you'd say it's sort of like an attack action in a way. So if I wanted to sort of dig up the ground, you can use the left mouse button to dig up the ground. And then the right mouse button is essentially like an interaction. So you can use the right mouse key as a way of kind of like interacting with things, and it's how you would perform certain actions such as opening doors, or if you wanted to place an object down from your hotbar, you can do that by using the right mouse button. So it's similar to kind of like an action. So yeah, they did make a make a Technocamps block, absolutely. So that's how that works. So that's fine. Now, as I'm sure a lot of you are already aware, there are two different modes that you can use in Minecraft Education. There's creative mode, and there's also survival mode. So with the survival mode, you obviously have things like health, you have to eat in order to survive and things like that. You know, there's sort of a lot more, there's, I guess, a bit more of an element of realism. Yeah, sure, I can do that. Hang on. I shall turn off the in-game audio. There we go. Is that any better for anybody? I was turning off the audio, made it a bit easier. Like I said, I am really sorry about the mic quality this week. hopefully I'll have a bit of a better mic within the next 2 weeks or so that you can hear me a little bit better. Has that improved any? Cool, no worries. So survival mode. So survival mode is essentially kind of where you've got you have sort of limited resources, you've got to go and, forage for things, you've got, essentially it's a little bit more like real life, whereas because we're using creative mode, it means that we have an unlimited amount of resources, and of course we've got a whole different, we don't have to kind of look for things in different places and stuff like that. So we can access our full inventory by pressing the E button on the keyboard. And you can see here now that our inventory is actually fully stocked. So there's a whole bunch of different stuff that we can use, ranging from the different eggs that we can use, right the way through to all of the sort of basic Minecraft blocks and weapons and stuff that you can use in the game. So of course what we've got here are a series of different objects, okay, and all of course the different menus that exist run along the top of the inventory. So what I thought we would do as sort of like an introductory sort of task today is we're actually going to sort of like build just like a simple structure, so like a house or any sort of basic structure that you would like to kind of that you'd like to sort of build yourselves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a series of materials out of the inventory, and I'm going to drag those down to what's known as my hotbar, which are these 9 slots that exist at the bottom of the inventory. Yeah, that's fine, Chris, no worries. So essentially the inventory runs along the bottom of the screen here. The hotbar runs along the bottom of the screen here. And this is essentially kind of like what we're going to be carrying. And we can access each one of these slots using the numbers 1 to 9 on the keyboard. So each one of these represents a number ranging from 1 to 9. And if we wanted to access any of these, then we can do so by pressing that respective number on the keyboard. So what I'm going to do is, just reopen that, is I'm just going to take a couple of planks. So I'm going to use some oak wood planks to build the house. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to use the search function. So you can actually use the search bar here as a way of actually looking for specific items to see if they exist. So I'm going to put some torches in my house. So I'm going to so that it's a bit more light. I'm also going to use an oak door. I'm going to put in some glass windows. I'm also going to put in a bed, and I'm also going to put in some carpet as well, so that there's some nice kind of floor. So what I'd like you all to sort of do now for the next 10-15 minutes or so is just kind of build up your own little house, just so that we're able to, just so that you've got a chance to kind of, if you haven't used Minecraft Education before, so that you've got a chance to practice using those things, using those controls that we've just covered, and just to give you a little bit of a feel for the game so that you can come to terms with sort of how it works and things like that. So what I'll do in a second is I'll post up on my screen, I'll put a slide up which has got all of the basic controls for those of you who are new to it. And then and then that's what we'll do over the next sort of 10-15 minutes. If the audio is coming through a little bit jumpy or a little bit kind of like stuttery, just kind of let me know, and I'll go back over a few things again. And remember, if anybody has sort of any questions that they'd like to ask, let me know, and we'll cover a few things. Have a lot of you been using Minecraft Education in school before? Oh, okay, that's cool, Chris. What sort of things did you do? Okay, so some of you have sort of started using it. Oh, nice. Yeah.
I'm trying to build a TNT cannon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So let's put this here. So I built it now. Just need to grab a few stacks of TNT. Do you know how to clear your inventory?
How to clear the inventory? Well, you can, if you wanted to sort of replace items in the inventory, you can open up the inventory again, so you press the E key, and then you can just drag things out. So if I wanted to get rid of carpets, I can just sort of drag carpets back in, and then it will free up that slot for you in the hotbar. Otherwise, if you wanted to just sort of replace what was in there, you can just say I didn't want the bed in there anymore. You can just click it on top and then just pop the bed back in the main inventory. So that's how you can change it.
Okay, my TNT cannon is complete.
That's good. You can share if you want to share some screenshots in Discord. You can do that as well.
It didn't work.
Oh, okay. Well, keep trying. I'm sure you might be able to get it eventually. So it is. I can see you did an obstacle course, a survival world, and a battlefield. Hold shift as you click the stack of items, and they will vanish. Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. So if you wanted to get rid of items, as Chris was saying, you can hold down the click, and it will get rid of them like that.
Okay.
So for those of you who are using a desktop or have a mouse, as opposed to like a touchpad, you can scroll through the hotbar using the scroller wheel on your mouse as well if you feel quicker access to the different items in it. That's one thing that you can do as well.
Okay, I'll try launching the TNT vertically instead. Firework. Firework. Minecraft. Okay, so let's grab some water. Okay, test number 1. Test successful.
Oh, good. There you go.
Okay, so let's just let's just grab a block.
Oh, that's a good idea, Trace. Okay, I'll try that out at some point as well. That's a really nice idea.
Okay, let's pop this dispenser bit here. That's had a bit of a delay. And we're ready for test number 2. Test. Yes, it worked.
Oh, great. There you go.
I'm going to increase the delay so that I'll actually be able to see it.
Okay.
It works.
There you go. Good.
I'm just going to keep on launching TNT into the air.
I see.
I'm going to shit. Oh God. Well, looks like there's been some minor damage, but it's fine. I can fix it. My music is really nostalgic. Okay, so, I built a working TNT launcher.
That's good. Okay. So, how's everybody's builds coming along? Are they coming along okay?
Yeah, I'm coming along well.
That's good. So I'll give everybody just a few more minutes to finish some things off, and then we'll go through a few more new things then in a second. If anybody wants to put any screenshots in the chat of what they've been working on, I'd love to see what sort of things you've come up with.
Okay, I built a pulse extender. That is when I spoke to the man.
That's pretty good, Alex. That looks pretty nice. Well done. Looks really, really good.
I'm going to build a really long pulse extender.
Okay. So I'm quite, like I said earlier, I'm quite new to Minecraft as well. So if anybody sort of wants to, if anybody sort of sees me doing something and you think, oh, you know, that would be, there's like an easier way that I could do that, or if anybody sort of has any tips that they'd like to give me, I'd definitely like to hear them, because I'm sort of really would like to kind of improve my knowledge in Minecraft and stuff. So, and I know that a lot of you have been using it for quite a while now. So I would love to sort of hear any suggestions that any of you have that you think that might be useful.
Okay.
That would be great.
Round and round and round the basket goes. Round and round and round it goes.
Okay, so what we'll do now, I think, is we will start to move on. We'll start to move on now to look at something new. You play Java Minecraft, Alex. That's pretty good. I was thinking of getting the Java Minecraft actually. I thought about maybe having a go on that and using sort of like the Java version as well as sort of the education one. Let's have a look. Looks pretty good, Jack. I can see you've got a whole bunch of different bits going on in the hotbar, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, do you remember the furnace, the minecart with furnace?
I haven't seen that, no.
Well, basically, a minecart you could have a furnace, and if you were to put fuel in it, it would actually burn that fuel and move around. Of course, it doesn't really make any sense if you could just use redstone to move your minecart around. So they removed that.
Right. Okay. So, is everybody happy if we move on to the next thing now? Or does anybody want a little bit of extra time to just finish their first builds? Or are we all okay to move on?
I'm good to move on.
Okay.
Just messing around with some stuff.
That's fine. Okay, so what we'll do then is, we'll move on now to looking at a couple of more sort of things that you can do in Minecraft Education Edition. And then what we'll do after that is is at the end of the stream, if we've got sort of like a little bit of time, we can come back to this and we can do some stuff. I'm just having a look at yours, Frizz, now. That's pretty amazing. Well done. That's some really great work. It's fantastic.
I'm going to send you a screenshot of what I've done.
Yeah, that's fine.
Screen.
Let's have a look. Oh yeah, it's looking very good. Looks good.
What do you think of all the crates there?
Yeah, look, it looks. There's a lot of craters there.
So what I did is I was chopping some TNT down, and I noticed that that one is ignited at different times. Like I ignite one piece of TNT, then the other, then one piece of TNT would actually propel the other. So then eventually led to my TNT cannon.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And the thing that looks to be like floating with some tricking tracks on is actually allows you to change directions of where the fine part will go. Like you can go left or go right. I thought of it because I just remembered a Minecraft book I have.
Mhm.
Don't think it was this one. I'll
Right, okay, so what we'll do now then is we'll move on to looking at something, to another thing that you can do within Minecraft Education, okay? So, you'll probably see in one thing that I will mention now is in the left-hand side of the screen, you'll probably all be able to see your position. So your position is essentially the coordinates within the world that you are positioned in. So it runs off of an X, Y, and sort of Z axis, okay? So like in a graph, where you use X and Y axis. And so you've got your X axis, which is of course your horizontal axis. You've got your Y axis, which is your up and down axis. And then you've also got your Z axis as well, okay? And essentially... Okay, we'll go over that in a little while, okay?
I'm smacking it, but it doesn't go away.
Yeah, we'll cover that in a little while, okay?
If I smack anything else, it disappears.
That's fine.
It moves his arms.
Yeah, we'll cover that in a little while, okay? Okay. So, what we're going to look at now is the chat and command menu. Okay, so the chat and command menu is a concept which lets us, so for an example, if you're in a shared world with other people, you could actually chat with them via the chat and command menu, okay? And then if you're using it sort of with coding, or if you wanted to run different commands and things like that, then you can use the menu for that as well.
You've got commands on, then you can use commands.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll cover how that works now, okay? So there are two different ways that you can access the chat and command menu using keyboard shortcuts. So the first way that you can do it is using the letter T on the keyboard. And you'll see that once you get the letter T come up on the keyboard, you'll be brought into this chat and command menu, okay?
The first thing you see when you open the chat, it says press P, return, or control the D-pad right to open chat.
Yeah, that's it. So in order to get into the actual chat and command section that we're in now, all you need to do is just press T on the keyboard, okay? Now, if you were running a specific command, you have to put a slash in front of it, so it looks like that. Now, that means that if I just close the chat and command menu a second, if you wanted to launch the chat and command menu instantly in order to actually run a command, you can access it quickly by pressing the slash key, and you'll see that the slash key now already appears in the text bar along the bottom of the screen, so that you don't have to click on it or manually type it in again because it already appears, okay? So there are two different ways that you can do that. Now, there are lots and lots and lots of different there are lots and lots of different commands that you can run, okay? So I'm just going to cover a couple of the basic ones, which we'll go through now. So one of the easier ones to remember is that you can actually change things like the weather, okay? So for an example, if I wanted to change the weather, I can type in the word weather, and then you can see on the left of the screen it's now giving me a choice of clear, query, rain, or thunder. So if I wanted it to rain, I can type weather, rain, hit enter, and you can see now that the weather has actually changed to rain, sky has gone grey, and it's now completely raining, okay? So that's one of the commands.
It says duration
Yeah, you can try that, see if that works, absolutely.
That was like barely anything. So, these, then, 1,000.
I'm just looking at some of your work now, Alex, the screenshots you've been sending, and it looks very, very good. Well done. So that's one of the methods that you can, that's one of the things that you can do, okay, using the chat and commands menu. Another thing that you can do is you can actually teleport, okay. Now, one thing to remember with teleporting is if you want to get back to the place that you're in currently, you'll need to remember the exact position that you were in before. Okay, so it's probably worth writing down, just in case you go a little bit far and it takes you a while to walk back to where you were, it's worth writing down what your current position is. So at the moment, I'm at 36. So at the moment, I'm at 36, 4, and minus 14, okay? So if you write down those, it means that you're not going to sort of forget where you are currently. So if you want to teleport to a different place, you can open up that chat and command menu again, and you can put the letters TP, and you'll see that in that TP section, okay, there's a whole bunch of different things that have come up now where you can actually choose who you would like to teleport and to where. So if you were in a shared world with somebody, you can actually choose. That's it, yeah. So you could, well, yeah, maybe that I don't think that'd be very nice, but that is something I suppose that you could do. So I'm going to teleport myself. Now, if you want to teleport yourself, it does say that you can put @s. However, you don't. If you are teleporting yourself, you don't necessarily have to put @s. You can just put in the coordinates you'd like to travel to. So I'm going to travel to. I'm going to go to 64, and I'm going to go to minus 14. Okay. And if I hit enter, you'll now see that I've teleported to 64 minus 14, and I'm now outside of my house. Okay. So if I wanted to get back into my house, I can put in the coordinates that I typed in earlier. So I was at 36, 4 minus 14, and now I'm back inside my house to where I was before. Okay. So having teleportation is really, really handy. If there were a couple of, let's just say, key places in the world that you would like to be, and you wanted to teleport to those places, and you remembered the coordinates, it means that you don't have to walk over there and sort of spend ages sort of traveling across your world, especially if you've got a really, really big world. It's probably best if you could just sort of teleport there. It'd make it a lot easier. Okay. One other really useful command that you could have is the World Builder command. So having World Builder mode enabled will let you access maybe a whole bunch of different things which you wouldn't necessarily be able to do with World Builder command switched off. And one of those things is actually adding in NPCs. So if you want to add NPCs into your game, or into your world, sorry, then you will have to have the World Builder mode enabled, okay, or you're not actually able to add in NPCs. So to do that, you can press the / command to go back to the chat and command menu. You can type in WB, and you'll see now it's brought up toggle World Builder status of caller. If you hit enter, it now, as you can see, says World Builder status updated to true, right? And what that means is that now our World Builder status, okay, has now been set to true, which means it's been set to being switched on. And this means now that we can add in our NPC and we can have a little bit more sort of interactivity with our world, more so than what we could before. So I'm going to add in a few NPCs. So I'm going to just go and search for the NPC spawn egg. And I'm going to pop my NPC inside of the house. So I'm going to hover over the NPC's spawn egg using in the hotbar. I'm going to right click. Then there's 2 NPCs now that have gone through, of course, through the carpet. So we'll put another one outside. There you go. So here's my NPC. Okay. So with the NPC stood here now, if I right click on the NPC, I'm now able to give my NPC a name, so I'm going to call it Dan, and I get to choose sort of what skin I would like the NPC to have. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of different NPC skins that you can choose from. Okay, you can also do things like edit dialogue so that they can sort of say different things when you walk up to them, and there's a whole bunch of different things that you can do. Now, if I change the world builder mode again, so go back into chat and command, hit WB and set it to being switched off to false, you'll see now that if I right click on my NPC, it brings up the word hello, but I can't actually remove the NPC if world builder mode is turned off. If I want to remove an NPC, I have to re-toggle world builder mode, and you can see now if I right click on the NPC, it actually disappears. Okay, so what the world builder mode essentially does for you is it allows you a little bit more functionality and a little bit more sort of freedom to do different things within the world. Okay, more so than what you maybe would have. What you would do if world builder mode was set to being off, okay, or set to false. So I'm going to set my world builder mode now to being back to false, and I'm also going to set the weather to being clear because I feel bad that Dan has to stand outside in the rain. Okay, so there we go. So now Dan is not stood outside in the rain. Okay, so Tomato, okay, that's fine.
Tomato is gone.
So, based off of the different concepts and things that we've covered so far, I know a lot of them will already be familiar to a lot of you, but has anybody got any questions that they'd like to ask me about what we've covered so far, or has anybody got any tips they'd like to share with me on different things that we can do? You know, like I said, I'm happy to take sort of any sorts of suggestions, different things, just so that, you know, to build sort of my knowledge in Minecraft as well. So sort of let me know in the chat if there's anything that you would like me to, anything you'd like to share with me, or anything that you would, or if you've got any questions. Okay. Yeah, I've heard of the camera item actually, so that you can take photos in the game. I thought that was quite a cool feature. Okay. I've just seen your message as well, Sis, about the house, making the house maybe slightly taller. That's a very good idea. I shall do that now. I think that's a very good idea actually, because at the moment my house is not very tall. You're right. Also, thank you for letting me know about the size of the blocks. I think that's really cool. That's really useful to know.
I wish that they would increase the max build limit. I mean, 256 isn't really very high, and it's quite limited. I mean, imagine a height limit of 1,000 blocks, 10,000 blocks. There would be so many possibilities.
Okay. So what we'll be moving on to in just a second is we're going to move on to looking at make code, okay? So, and how that we can use make code within Minecraft. So using make code is going to be something that we're going to be using a lot more of over the next few weeks. We're going to start doing sort of different things using make code, and we're going to cover a few things that can show in a way how you can use make code to make things sort of easier for you in Minecraft using the agent facility, which is available. So what we'll do in a second is we will start to go through how we can use make code and the different things that we can do with make code. Okay. Okay, so we'll move on now to looking at the code builder, okay, and how we can use that within Minecraft. So one thing that I will sort of say now with regards to the code builder is that when we actually create scripts using the code builder, we run them from that chat and command menu that I mentioned earlier. So once you kind of create a script and you build a script within the code builder, what you can then do is you can simply type the name of that script or whatever you've called it into the code builder, into the chat and command menu, and what that will do is it will actually then run whatever script that you have produced. Okay, so what we're going to do in this session is we're going to do a little bit of an introduction to the code builder. We're going to talk about how it works. I know that some of you have already used the code builder in the past, which is really good to hear. But what we're going to do is we're going to do essentially a bit of a basic introduction to it. We're going to cover how it works, and then what we'll do is we'll actually have a go at producing one of our own scripts, which we can then sort of run within our world, okay? So what we will do to begin with is we need to actually access that code builder. So to do that, we just simply press the letter C on the keyboard, okay? And you'll see now that this code builder menu has appeared. And essentially this is where you are able to actually build up your different scripts within the game, okay? So you can see here that what you'll have is a series of My Projects, which are directly associated with your account, okay? So all of the different things that you will have worked on are sort of in this script, in this section, sorry. You'll also find on Minecraft, on the code builder, that there's actually a series of tutorials. So we'll be covering some of those in a little while, okay? And there's essentially a whole bunch of really useful tools available, which can kind of help you to improve your sort of coding knowledge and things, okay? So if you wanted to start off a new script yourself, what you do is you click on this new project button here, and you can actually then name your project. And if you have a look under code options, you can see that it actually gives you a series of different options. So you can use blocks, JavaScript and Python, you can use just Python, or you can use just JavaScript. Now, one really kind of useful facility of the code builder is that you're actually able to, if you wanted to, program in Python and JavaScript. For the purposes of the sessions that we're going to be running over the next few weeks, we are only going to be programming using blocks. Okay, so we're not going to be using JavaScript, we're not going to be using Python, we're just going to be using block-based programming. However, if you wanted to, sort of outside of the live streams, maybe explore sort of different parts of the programming and have a look at things like JavaScript and Python, that would be that's absolutely fine. We're not going to be creating our own new project today, however, because we're actually going to cover the chicken rain tutorial, which is a really, really easy tutorial for everybody to follow if they're new to the code builder. Okay, so like I said, I know that some of you might have already familiarized yourselves with the code builder in the past, but just to make sure that everybody's up to speed and everybody's at the same place, we're going to sort of start off with the chicken rain tutorial before we move on to doing something new. Okay, so once you've loaded up code builder by pressing the C key on your keyboard, scroll down to the tutorial section and click on the chicken rain tutorial, and it will give you a choice of either using block-based programming, using Python, and using JavaScript. If any of you wanted to have a go using Python and JavaScript, I'm more than happy for you to have a go at using that, if you wanted to kind of develop your programming knowledge in those two languages. However, for the purposes of the stream today, and for the code that we'll be doing over the next few weeks, we are going to be using the block-based programming. Okay, so we're going to click on blocks and we're going to go to Start Tutorial. And what you'll be presented with is a series of step-by-step instructions, which basically guide you through how we're going to get our game to do what the short sort of video is displaying here. Okay, so once you get up with this tutorial, you can hit OK, and you'll see now that we're presented with the coding environment of the code builder, and you'll notice that it is actually very, very similar to how you would see in Scratch, and also in how you would see in what we were using over the last few weeks, which was of course GameFruit. Okay, so it's very, very similar. It's a block-based programming facility, very, very, very similar to what I'm sure a lot of you are already used to, and it's very, very similar to what we've been doing over the last few weeks. On the left of the screen are a series of different sub-menus. Okay, and each one of these houses different blocks. Now, in the Chicken Rain tutorial, we're not going to see that there are only 3 menus, and there are only a limited number of blocks available. Okay, and the only reason that there's a limited number of blocks available is because these blocks are actually just to get you started with the tutorial. Okay, so they're not there. It's so that you can see sort of how it works. I will quickly, in a second, I'll demonstrate how it does actually look outside of this specific tutorial, okay? And you'll see that there's actually a lot more, there are actually a lot more menus and a lot more blocks that you can choose from, which we'll be coming to terms with over the coming weeks, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're just... What was that?
40,000 chickens.
I mean, you can try spawning in 40,000 chickens, but it will probably really slow down your computer and it might crash. So I would...
Thousands have already been spawned.
Right, okay. So it might take a while for it to catch up with the 40,000 chickens, I'd imagine, but I'm sure it'll catch up eventually. So what we're going to do is we're just going to follow this tutorial now, just so that we can familiarize ourselves with the coding environment, okay? So you can see that there are 2 blocks that are already on the screen already. We've got the on start block and we've got the on chat command run block. Okay. Now the on chat command block is really, really handy because it means that whatever you put in this text box here, when you type that into the chat and command menu, like we looked at earlier, you will actually be able to run the script that we're building. I'm just seeing that some of you are starting to see the agent come up. Okay, it is a bit of an intruder, so we'll go over the agent in a second. Okay, and I'll explain to you why he's. Yeah, so I'll explain why the agent appears on the screen in your world in a little while. Okay. What we'll do now is we'll just go through this tutorial and then I'll give you a bit of an introduction to the agent, okay? So what you have to do in this chat and command block is rename whatever you would like your script to be called, essentially, okay? So I'm going to call, like the tutorial says, I'm going to call mine chicken, if I could actually spell it. There we go. So what we've got there is we're saying now that when we type in the word chicken into that chat and command menu, okay, what will essentially happen is this script will actually execute, okay, and it'll run. Now, if we move on to the next part, you'll see now that it's asking us to go into the mobs menu, and we can actually have a spawn block, okay. Now, what the spawn block does, as the name suggests, is it will spawn in whatever animal is located in this box here. Now, you can choose different animals if you wanted to. Okay, if you wanted to have pigs or cows spawning in, then that's absolutely fine. Okay, but I'm just going to be sticking to chickens for now. And what you'll be able to see is that we've got these coordinates, okay? And what the coordinates do is these coordinates, they're not the exact coordinates that are associated with your player, okay? So you'll see now on my screen at the moment that my coordinates are set to 40, 4, and minus 26, okay? When there's that little squiggly line in front of the number, which is known as a tilde, okay, what that means is that those are the coordinates relative to the player, okay, so they're not the exact coordinates of the player, they are relative to the player. So what I mean is, for an example, as you can see in the tutorial, if I set this middle number, which is of course the y-axis, to 10, what that means is that it's actually spawning the chickens 10 blocks above the player, okay? So we don't put in the exact coordinates of the player here because that's just going to essentially mean that we're spawning in those 10, we're just going to be spawning in a chicken in a completely different place. What we want to do is we want to actually spawn in that chicken 10 blocks above where we are now, okay? And you'll see now that if we exit out of our code builder, press the T button, and then run the chicken command, or whatever you've called yours, you should see that there is now a single chicken running around in your world, okay? So there you have the one chicken. Now, Minecraft, if we go back to the code builder, also uses a whole bunch of other different things, okay? And you can actually have repeats of, you can actually perform the same bit of code over and over and over again using looping, okay? So we've obviously come across looping in the last few weeks in things like Game Fruit, where we were using loops and things like that, okay? And so what we can do is we can click on the loops menu and we can drag in that loops block. And what this is essentially going to do is it's actually going to let us repeat this spawn command multiple times so that we can have in as many chickens as we like. So like the tutorial suggests, I'm going to add in 100 chickens, but it is entirely up to you how many chickens you would like to put into your game. Okay. Once you've done that, you can hit finish, you can leave the tutorial, go back into your game, and if you hit T and type in chickens, or chicken, you'll now see that you should have about 100 different chickens spawning into your level, or however many chickens that you would like to add in. Okay. So that is a basic introduction to the into make code, okay, and into sort of how make code works. Now, if you exited out of the tutorial, what you'll be able to see is that there are actually lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of different menus that have now appeared in the code builder, and we're going to be coming to terms with these over the next few weeks to introduce ourselves to some more of the kind of like fundamental programming concepts, which we can use within in programming. Okay. Now, what you will also see is that we can now actually have a look at how our code would look in things like Python and JavaScript, which is really, really useful if you wanted to kind of familiarize yourselves with a different programming language. Okay. So what you can do along the top of the screen here is you can see that you can actually switch between programming languages. So you can see here now that I'm actually looking at the JavaScript programming language, and here we can see that we've got the Python programming language. If you wanted to familiarize yourselves with those different things, then feel free, okay? Or if you wanted to follow tutorials on how those different things work, then feel free to do that as well. What you will notice is that for those of you who maybe aren't familiar yet with using Python, there's a couple of the programming concepts which we've looked at in GameFruit. So you can see here that the word dev here means that what we have there is a function, okay? And a function is, of course, a bit of code that you can run, which over and over and over again. So instead of having to, let's just say, write out the same bit of code repeatedly, you can actually put everything that you want inside of a function, and then you can use that function to whenever you would like within your program. So if you've got a really, really long program and you wanted to reuse the same bit of code on repeat, you can actually put it inside of a function, and then you can call that function later on in the game, in the script, sorry, when you wanted to use it. You'll also see that we're actually using a for loop, and the for loop is again a type of loop which will let you repeat a bit of code a set number of times. So where it says for index in range 100, what that means is that everything that's within inside of the loop, you can actually then repeat that 100 times. Okay, and you'll notice that because we're using Python, everything is indented. So indentation in Python is really, really important. And you'll see that inside of the function, what we've got here is indentation for everything that's inside. Everything that's inside of the function. Okay. And what you will also find is that everything that's inside of a for loop is also indented as well. Okay. So indentation in Python is very, very important. So if we go back to the regular code builder, you'll see now that we can easily sort of translate, in a way, this block-based programming into Python and also into JavaScript. Okay. Has anybody used Python and JavaScript before, or is that something that you haven't looked into, that some of you haven't looked at yet? Have any of you used it maybe in school, or have any of you started sort of having a look at it in your free time? Okay. So that's, like I said, a bit of a sort of like an introduction into the code builder. Okay. What we're going to do now is, I know some of you have noticed that this intruder has appeared. Okay. And this intruder is essentially known as an agent. Okay. So what the agent does is you can actually program the agent to do sort of like different things, sort of within your mind, within your world. Okay, and it can actually be really, really helpful, because what he can do is you can sort of program him to do lots and lots of different stuff, and it can kind of sort of reduce how much you sort of have to do in a way, because you can program him to do sort of different things. So over the next few weeks, we'll be looking at different things that we can do with agents, okay, and the type of stuff that we can, and different ways that we can program the agent using the code builder. From what I understand, you can't actually delete the agent, okay? He is sort of permanently stuck there, but you can actually teleport him to being in a different place. So oh, can you? Oh, there you go. Okay.
So the command is /tailc or /tailv.
Okay. So if you wanted to remove the agent, that would be the way that you would do it. But it's probably best if you keep the agent there, because like I said, we're going to be making use of him over the next few weeks now. So having the agent there will mean that over the next sort of few weeks, we're actually able to program him to do different things. So I'll give a sort of quick tutorial for you on the types of things that you can do with the agent. Okay, so using sort of the make code builder. Okay, so you can see at the moment that we've got this on-chat command. Okay. And like I said, the on-chat command can be really, really handy, because you can use as many of these as you want to in your script, and they can all sort of do different things, okay? So I'm going to go into the player menu, and I'm going to grab out another on-chat command, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this block to essentially control my agent to make him move in different directions. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make the agent walk forwards. So to do that, I'm just going to call my block. You can call the block, like I said, whatever you like, but I'm just going to call it forward. Okay, so that way I know that what the block is for. And this kind of ties us back into a concept which I think I mentioned during the Game Fruit sessions, was that when you're naming things such as variables or when you're commenting, it's really important that you name things suitably so that you can remember what they actually do. You know, things like variables and things like that, you can actually call them whatever you want it to, okay? But it's important that you name them sensibly, because otherwise you might not remember why you've actually got it there, okay? So I've called my on-chat command forward, and you'll notice that along the screen on the left here, there's actually a block called agent. And if you open that up, you can see that there are actually different actions, okay, that we can do. And you can do things like get the agent to set blocks, you can get the agent to move, you can get the agent to collect items, okay, you can teleport the agent to different places. But we're going to use this agent move forward by one block. I'm going to pop that in there. And essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click and duplicate these two, this block. And you might notice that the block, when you duplicate it, it's grayed out. And the reason that it's grayed out is because it means that there's already a block in existence called forwards. So if I change this now to being, say, left, you'll see now that it comes back into place. And I can actually change that now to being left. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate another one of those, and I'm going to call this one right, and I'm going to say that he can move to the right. Okay, what we've got here essentially is a series now of commands, or a series of blocks, which are going to be able to control the direction which our agent moves. So I'm going to change it to being agent move forward by 5, agent move right by 1, and agent move left by 1. Okay, so every time I type in forward, right, and left now into my chat command, okay, what that essentially means is that the agent, which we can see on the screen, will be able to follow those commands. So if I exit out of the code builder and I go into my chat command menu and I type in the word forward, you'll see now that the agent actually moves forwards. If I put in left, he faces left, and if I type in right, he moves to the right. Okay, so there are lots and lots of different things that you can do to control your agent. He can also hold items, so he also has an inventory. So if you were to say to the agent that he can go and actually collect items, then you can do that. Okay, you can actually send him off to find things and he can bring them back and he can have them in your inventory, which I can imagine will be extraordinarily useful when you're doing things like survival mode. Okay, if you needed him to go and fetch different things, then you can do that. But having the agent there is really, really useful. Okay, yeah, you can give him gold. That's absolutely fine. Like I said, there are lots and lots of different things that you can do. Okay, lots and lots and lots of different things that you can do with the agent. I know it can be a little bit confusing as to why he's suddenly just randomly appeared in your world, but it's to do with the code builder. Okay, so when you start up the code builder, because you're able to program the agent, Minecraft will by default place the agent into your world for you so that you're able to sort of control what he does. And you can see that his position actually appears in the underneath yours as well on the screen. So there are so that you can do different things with the agent. Okay, so that's one thing that you can do, and that's another thing that you can do sort of with the agent. Okay, so back now onto this. So if you throw a trident now, Alex, it bounces off and destroys your ears. Okay, fair enough. I've not tried that, but that might be something that I try off stream, just so that I don't destroy everybody's ears of the stream now. So one thing that I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go through one more tutorial, okay, just so that we've got sort of a little bit more experience in using the code builder. And then what we'll do then is, for the last sort of for the last part of the stream, is you can all feel free to sort of export your worlds if you like. So I'm sure a lot of you already know how to do that. Okay, I'll try not to do that then, Alex. What we'll do is we'll go through how to export the worlds, and then if we wanted to sort of have a go at playing on each other's worlds, then we can do that afterwards. Okay. Does anybody have any questions in the meantime as to how different things work, or is everybody relatively okay so far? I know we've gone through some things quite quickly, but I know that a lot of you are already very familiar with Minecraft and things like that, so I didn't want to sort of spend a minigame tutorial. We could do. That's something that we can look into possibly doing. So one thing that I will sort of mention now so today's stream was really an opportunity for us to sort of like familiarize ourselves a bit with Minecraft and kind of get to build up a little bit of a world. So there are some at the bottom. Okay, cool. Yeah, sure. We could look at a minigame tutorial. Okay.
Yeah. So I wonder what number I'll be able to reach.
Well, there you go. So you can try that out. So, like I said, if any of you would like to sort of try going through one of these mini games, that's absolutely fine. Like I said, the purpose of today's session was to really kind of just familiarize people with Minecraft education, just so that you can all kind of get, just so that we can all kind of get used to using it. So really, what we do today now for the rest of the session is entirely sort of up to you. Whatever you would like to try and complete, that's absolutely fine. One thing that I will kind of bring up now is that, like I mentioned at the start of the stream, what there's going to be is a total of 5 sessions on Minecraft, so that includes today's one as well. The final session that we're going to be doing is pretty much going to be a challenge. So Andrew and I are currently in the process of setting you sort of like a Minecraft education challenge, which we'll be setting sort of in the last session. So throughout the last session, everybody can sort of have an opportunity to have a go on the challenge, and then we can sort of like share that with each other. So sort of like how we did with Game Fruit, where we covered a concept, and then right at the very end on our final session, we kind of all sort of shared our games with each other. It's going to be a similar sort of concept to that. But as I mentioned earlier, if anybody would like to share their worlds that they've been working on today with us now, for us to have a look at, that would be really, really great. So just in case some of you aren't sure how that works, you can go to, if you save and exit your world, and then go into the View My Worlds menu, and then load up the settings for the world that you've just been creating, and scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that you're actually able to export the world. If you export that world and save it in your drive, and then you share it with us on Discord, we'll certainly sort of spend some time sort of taking a look through it and have a bit of a play around in what you've been working on during this stream. That's definitely something we can do. I like how the agent is hidden in a tree house, Oliver. That's a really good. That's a good idea. That's definitely a good idea. I also love that tree house. That looks really, really cool. That's really cool.
Sorry, I wasn't really paying attention. I got a bit distracted. So how do you export again?
How do you export? Okay, so if you press the escape key so that you can load up your settings, and then you go to save and exit. So have you loaded up the menu, the pause menu? Save and exit, yeah. So save and exit, then it'll bring you back to the sort of main menu, okay? If you click on View My Worlds, then click on the world that you've just been working on and go to Settings. If you scroll down through your settings, you'll see an Export World button. If you press that, you can save a copy of that world into your Documents folder, okay? And then what you can do is you can then share that file in Discord with us. and then we can load it up on within our worlds. Okay, if you wanted us to see what you've been working on so far. There you go. Yep, so that's come through now. Nice. So what I'll do now is I'm going to cover. So I won't go through one of the minigame tutorials today, but that's definitely something that we could do, or like I said, you're welcome to sort of do in your sort of outside of the stream. What I'll do is I'll go through one more of the smaller tutorials now, just so that we've got enough time at the end to sort of play around in different worlds. And then what we'll do at the end is, like I said, we'll go through have a play around on different people's worlds, and then we'll sort of finish things off. That's how we'll finish things off for today, okay? So the tutorial that I think I'll go through now is that mega jump tutorial. Again, we're going to be using the block-based one. And what we'll do is we'll use this so that we can sort of jump really, really sort of high in the game. So I'm going to use the onChat command, block, and I'm going to call it jump, okay? And we can use the teleport jump. Now remember, when we're using the teleport block here, this block inside of it, where there's the little tilde symbol in front of the numbers, that means that the coordinates that we're putting in there are relative to the player, okay? Which of course means that it's not the exact coordinates of the player, but it's relative to the player. So putting, for an example, like I said, 10 inside of the middle section, for the y-axis, means that it's going to be 10 blocks above the player, okay? So that's how that works. So if we shut down the code builder and I type in jump into my chat and command block, you'll see that I jump 10 units up, okay? If I go back into the code builder, we can add a parameter. Now, what we'll be doing here is we'll actually be adding in, we're going to be adding in a variable, okay, so that we can actually change, the value of how high that we jump. So, for those of you who don't remember what a variable is, it's a kind of like a section or a slot within the computer's memory, okay, which can hold a particular piece of data, okay? And we use variables very, very often within programming because they can hold different values and we can use them to do different things. And as I mentioned before, using variables, it's very, very important that you name your variables something that you can remember, just so that way you know, what's being held within that specific variable. Okay, so we've added in now our num1 parameter. Okay, and we can now, within the variables menu, you'll see now that the num1 parameter has actually been produced, or the num1 variable has actually been produced. Okay, so if we drag that in,
so what are we doing again?
okay.
Mega jump?
Yeah, so we're just going through that mega jump tutorial.
Okay.
There you go. So at the moment, you'll see now that at the moment we haven't actually set our num1 variable to anything. So we need to actually set it to something. So if we set it to say 100, okay, and then you can specify how high then you would like your character to jump, okay. There you go.
I'm a million blocks in the air.
There you go.
And I don't have any hair.
So if you wanted to set your variable to something, you can do. But what you can also do is you can just specify that you jump to num1, which means that when you actually run the script in here, you can specify what value your variable is just by doing that. So you don't necessarily have to set it to being a particular value, but you can do if you want to, so to speak. It's entirely up to you. Let's have a look at your treehouse, Oliver. That's looking pretty incredible. Well done. So before we move on to sort of having a go at people's, sort of having a look at different people's worlds and things like that, is everybody, I take it everybody is quite happy so far with using Minecraft, and I think everybody is fairly familiar with how it works. Does anybody have any questions so far, or is everybody quite happy? It seems you're good. That's good. I think a lot of people are getting on sort of really. Everybody's doing really well. Like I said, the purpose of today's stream was to really just have a bit of a sort of.
Am I gonna go for food?
That's all right.
Okay.
Thank you for joining in today.
Bye.
Bye.
Everyone.
So, as I was saying, the purpose of today's stream is really for us to have a little bit of an introduction to Minecraft education and to sort of have a bit of an introduction to the code builder. So, that was kind of the plan for today. So, we'll spend the last sort of half an hour of today's stream just having an opportunity to kind of build the worlds a little bit. We won't be using this world for the next few streams. However, what we might do is revisit the world at the end of the worlds that you're building now. We can sort of revisit those in a few weeks once we've kind of got to the stage where we need to complete our challenge. We'll come back to using the world that you're building now. Whilst we have this little bit of free time at the end now for the last 25 minutes of the stream, one thing that I would like you to do, if possible, is just have a little go with that make code. Have a go at programming your agent to do different things and sort of start to familiarize yourselves with how it works. Because, like I said, we will be kind of making a lot more use of the agent in the next few weeks. So if you could familiarize yourselves a little bit with your agent and kind of just sort of like, you know, some basic movement commands and things like that, just so that you can familiarize yourself with him, that would be really good. But otherwise, what I'll do now is I'll start taking a look at some of the worlds that you've sent me. So I'd like to definitely have a look at what you've been working on. So I'm going to save and exit out of my world now. And I'm just going to go into the Discord so that I can try and get some of your worlds. So I'll start with yours, Jack. There we go. I'll just download all of these. There we go. So I'll have a look now. I'll start with your world, Jack, and I'll have a go. So this is pretty cool. So we've been doing some mining. This is pretty cool. Is there anywhere that you would like me to go sort of in particular, Jack, within your world? I can see that I already have a sword. That's pretty cool. Oh, okay. So there's actually some automatic doors. That's pretty cool. So how did you do the automatic doors then, Jack? How do they work? Okay, so they're powered by redstone. I'll definitely have to have a look into using redstone and things like that. I'll definitely have to have a look into using redstone. This is looking pretty cool, Jack. Well done. Okay. I'll make a note of the different things that you've all been doing so that I can have a look at them myself. I think it's really, really great work, and you're definitely all teaching me some new stuff within Minecraft. So that's really it's really, really good. So yeah, so what are these bits on the sides then, Jack? What are these? Right, okay. And so you use those to as a way of sort of adding in I see. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. This is a really good world, well done. Okay. So this is pretty good. So is that another world, Jack? That's fine. I shall just go and download that one now. I'll have a look at your other world now, Jack, before I look at before I move on to the next one. Let's have a look at your mansion. Oh, this is really smart. This is really cool. I love the indoor waterfall. That's a really nice feature. Makes the house look really cool. And it's a very tall mansion as well. So what have we got outside? Oh, nice. And it's inside of a little hill. Oh, this is really cool, Jack. Oh, nice. Yeah, this is really cool, Jack. This world is really cool. Well done. I like it. It's a really nice mansion. Oh, so this is just like a water block then, this one. So to share the world, Oliver, what you do, I'll just show you again on the screen. So go to if you press escape, go to save and exit and save your world. And then if you go into view my worlds and then click on the world that you want to share, you can then go click on it and go to settings, and if you scroll down in that menu in the game settings, you can export the world, and then you can save that as a .mc world file in your drive somewhere, okay? And then you can just share that file through Discord then. So that's how you share your world. Okay, so that was Jack's world. So I'll just have a look at the next world. So who else sent me a world? Okay, so Caliber's up to go for dinner, so we'll say I'll have a look at yours, Alex. Let's have a look at what you've got so far, Alex. So I can see that the that the agent is now trapped, which is okay, fair enough. Right, let's have a look inside of. Okay, that's fine, Alex. I'll have a look. I'll have a look at your updated one now. Okay, fair enough. That's fine. Oh right, okay, that's okay. Don't worry, Oliver. It's okay. If you wanted to, I suppose I'm not sure if it would work, but one thing that you could try is you can. Yeah, you could, as Jack said, you could try using Discord.com, or alternatively, if you wanted to share it, you could try putting, you could try sort of saving the world to your like drive, and then you can maybe pop it. I'm not sure if it would work, but you could try putting it on something like a USB pen, and then putting it onto your. I think it was you had a Chromebook, didn't you? Put it onto your Chromebook and then try sending it to us that way later on or something. That's fine. It doesn't have to be now. You can do it after the stream. It's entirely up to you. Well, from this version of your game so far, of your world so far, Alex, this is really, really cool. I'd like to see what you've got, what changes you've made so far. I also find it very funny that the agent has been completely trapped. I also love this house and the different art that you've got in it. That's really cool. It's really, really cool. And the little garden area that you've got going on, it's really nice. Well done. Yeah, so the aim of the Minecraft sessions that we're going to be doing is we're essentially just going to be looking at sort of different elements of programming that you can incorporate into it. So I believe what we'll be doing next week is we'll actually be using some pre-built worlds, okay? But that's not to say that you don't necessarily have to that's not to say that you don't have to, you know, stop working on your worlds. If you wanted to build and develop your world, feel free, you know, it's absolutely fine. And if you know, if any of you did want me to take a look, or if there's anything you wanted to ask, you know, as it was with Game Fruit, you know, just post it in our in the Discord, and I'll definitely, you know, take a look. It's absolutely fine. I'd really kind of like to see what you get up to with it, because I think Minecraft is really, really great. It's so much fun, but you can learn so much from it. So I'd really like to feel free to definitely share what you work on in the Discord. I can see it is that you've just sent through your world now, so I'll go and take a look at your world. Let's have a look what you've got so far here, sis. Let's see. Okay, this is pretty cool. I really like this house. So you said it was an observer. Agent is just floating miles and miles away. That's that's fair enough. Right, I'm going to go and have a look inside of your observatory, which is pretty cool. Let's have a look. Oh, this is really amazing. This is incredible, this. Well done. An unknown breed of sheep. I see. Well, I better not let those out then. And a terrified assistant. I see. So is the assistant terrified of the sheep or the fish, or both? I see. Okay, fair enough. I'll have a look at that now, Alex. Oh, this is incredible, Chris. Really well done. This is amazing. Really, really like that. It's really impressive. Really well done. There's even some lava flowing through here. Really cool. Really, really cool. Nice. Okay. So, Alex, I can see you've sent another one through. So I will have a look at that. Pull the lever. Oh, the lever. Okay. Ah, nice. Oh, nice. That's really cool. That's really cool. Really, really nice. Okay, so let me just have another look at Alex's new world. Let's have a look. Ah, okay. I can see the I can see the problem here. Okay, fair enough. So I guess we'll never know what's inside of the chest. And there's a cake here, which is pretty cool. Oh, the agent has been freed, I see, as well. That's good. Okay, that's pretty cool. The cake is... Okay, so I guess I'm never going to know what's inside of this chest, based on the fact that every time I try and get there, the door snaps shut, which is obviously a bit of a problem. It's pretty cool. This is pretty cool. Okay. So this is all sort of really, really great work. How do I add a file to Discord, Oliver? So in the chat bar, you'll probably see like a little plus symbol. If you click on that, that'll let you choose a file from your documents. Are you using the discord.com, Oliver, or are you using the normal platform, the app? Oh, okay. So you know where you type in messages, should be is there no I take it there's no little plus symbol there. Somewhere next to that chat message bar, that you should be able to see a symbol where you could that looks like a plus, and you click on that, and that lets you. Okay, that's really strange. Well, don't worry. If you can't find it and you can't share your world, just feel free to put some screenshots into Discord, and I can have a look at those that way. There you go. So Andrew's just popped the screenshot in, Oliver, of where you should be able to see. But if it's not there, don't worry. We can. Are you on mobile app or are you on desktop app? Okay, that's really strange. Because if it wasn't on the mobile app, I suppose that would make sense. But if it's not on the, strange that it's not on the desktop app. Okay, that's really strange. Well, don't worry. If it's not there, then just put some screenshots in, and we can have a look at them that way. Does it let you click on that plus symbol?
You need to use the app that you're using Microsoft. That's the cable.
What was that? Sorry, Andrew.
Probably just need to use if you're using your laptop or PC, use Discord on the device.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be the best thing. Like I said, Oliver, don't worry if you can't. If it doesn't want to work, don't worry. Just post some screenshots and we can have a look at that. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so it's coming up to 6 o'clock. I know this session has been a little bit more sort of free time to do different things, but that was really the purpose of today, was to have a bit of a chance to kind of mess about with Minecraft education and to familiarize ourselves with using it and things like that. Has everybody enjoyed today? And would you all definitely be happy to carry on with looking at make code and things next week? Okay, super. Thank you, Fizz. Glad you enjoyed it.
So we'll be looking at doing 3 more sessions, and then there'll be a challenge at the end, in the final session.
Yeah, that's it. So, as Andrew said, it's going to be 3 more sessions of us looking at make code and doing stuff on make code, and then at the end we'll be doing like a challenge session so that you can combine everything, that you can sort of combine and keep it so that you can kind of bring everything together. No problem, Jack. Thank you for joining. Glad you had a good time. Speak to you all next week. Yeah, so as Andrew said, it's going to be three more sessions of us kind of learning how to do different things. So we will be using some sort of built worlds that Minecraft Education have actually made themselves. So I'll share those with you prior to the stream starting. And then what we'll be doing is we'll be using make code to kind of like program our agent to do different things. And then for the final session, we'll do a little bit of a challenge, so you can sort of combine everything together and do sort of one sort of last big thing. And then after that, as I said, there'll be no coding clubs then for about 3 weeks, because Technocamps are doing the summer schools, which is going to be really, really good fun. Everybody's going to get to there are loads and loads of different activities by different delivery officers across Wales. They're all doing different things, so they're going to be really, really fun. And then after that, what we'll be doing then is we'll be kind of going back then to doing the coding club things again after that, after those 3 weeks in August. So that's the plan. Does anybody have any final questions before we finish off, or are we all is everybody happy? Okay, cool. Remember, we are still always on Discord if anybody does have any questions. So feel free to ask us if throughout the week and stuff. I will of course let you all know in advance. I'll let you all know sort of in advance about next week and the world that we'll be using. I'll make sure to share it so that you can all get it preloaded and stuff. But other than that, I think that's where we'll. I think that's probably where we'll leave stuff off for today. All right, that's fine, Oliver. I'll take a quick look. If you can share that now, I'll take a quick look before we finish up. That's okay. Well, if you manage to get it to work, I'll have a look at it off of the stream, and then I'll let you know what I think. But I'm sure it's going to be really, really cool. That's all right. Don't worry. Just once you manage to get it to work, post it up in Discord, and I'll have a look outside of off of the stream. Like I said, I'm sure it'll be really, really cool. So don't worry. Okay. Right. Okay. So that's fine. Okay, Oliver, no worries. I'll give it a try. Okay. So thank you everybody for joining us again for another week. Like I said, we'll be back next week for another Minecraft education session. I'm glad that you all enjoyed today, and thank you for teaching me all these new things. Like I said, I'm still quite new to Minecraft, so it's really, really great to see all of the work that you're doing, and it's helping to teach me as well, which is really, really cool. So thank you for sharing what you know with me. But other than that, I will speak to you all next week in the next session. Andrew, I'm going to stop the stream and then move over to